So just getting ready to build this altitude alerter part of the new instrument panel, and it's interesting just to look around. I was looking at just doing this the conventional boring way with the acrylic sheets in the same manner that I built the original panels, but it strikes me that looking around there's lots of options for once you start looking at little bits of knickknacks you've got lying around, just pieces of plastic. You can wonder about just building little individual instruments out of things like, there's like this is a small cassette case, for example. You junk the cassette, we've got a plastic box there which could easily be the autopilot indicators, just by putting a couple of LEDs inside there, perhaps printing some legends on the, in fact I've got some acetates, laser printable acetates here. This is a mock-up of the altitude alerter, so we can print graphics and text on there and just imagine them superimposed on the plastic knick-knack. This is clear acrylic at the moment, but all you need to do is figure out how to open it. All you need to do is take a piece of fine sandpaper and just roughen up the inside, and then you get a frosted fascia, if you like, which works much better with text than the LED. The problem with the LEDs is when they're too close behind the bezel, even if you've got a heavily frosted bezel, if you've got the LEDs too close behind, you see spots, and the only way I've found to remedy that is to have the LEDs positioned, actually a couple of inches far back, which is a bit of a pain. But a couple of other things here. These are just covers off cable ends. So that was probably, I don't know what that was. These ones I think are from SCART cable covers, so the SCART connector covers, and these are going to be great. These are going to be, I think these are actually going to be my autopilot indicators. So we're going to have nav arm, glide slope arm, nav capture, glide slope capture, with just basically 4 LEDs behind there, and I'll put the text on using I'll create the text on an acetate as I've just shown you, and that'll be fantastic. So no drilling or no cutting or creation of anything, those are just found items. And coming back to the altitude alerter, as I say, this is the mock-up of the graphics, and that's built around this iPod Nano box which I had lying around, and this is absolutely fantastic. This is tailor-made almost. It's almost an ideal size for the altitude alerter. So we're going to have the digital display in there, masked off of course because we only want 5 digits of the knob for adjusting the altitude on there, and then we've got the push buttons. We're going to have 3 of those along there. Then there'll be just room above those for the illuminated legends. So that's where we're at. Just got to go on and do that now. So we've been working on the altitude alerter and we've pretty much got the graphics done. So we've got the box with the holes drilled, made some attempt to paint the sides, hasn't been too successful. So we have to touch that up, but we've got the graphics. So we've got the basic template here. We've got, for the blank spaces, some button captions on a transparency, so that goes behind there, and then we've got a sheet of tracing paper that goes behind those. It's probably not lined up very well, but that's going to diffuse the lights from the LEDs. That's the idea. So we'll see how we get on. Just about ready to assemble this. Okay, so we've got an altitude alerter built and functioning. At least the outputs are functioning. I haven't wired up I have wired up the switches, they're not connected yet. The reason being I want to wait till I've done the autopilot as well, then I'll have to cut all the connections to the bottom of the board and resolder them onto the umbilical connector. But for now we operate it from the old switches, but all the indicators are functioning. So what I'll do is in just a second I'll zoom in on that display and show you it working. So I'm really pleased with this. It's a self-contained little unit which looks pretty authentic. I've just zoomed in so you can see the new altitude alerter display, but you can also see the indicators over here. So don't forget I'm using the controls below the box to manipulate the buttons and the knob at the moment. So we can dial in the altitude like that. We get the altitude alert flag when we're within 1,000 feet. We're at 1,500 feet now. If we dial in 2,000 and we manually initiate a climb and then click altitude alert. I've chosen the colours here. These colours on the panel, they're all basically orange on a sort of red background. Actually what you saw there was it's flipped almost immediately onto altitude hold because we were almost at the pre-selected altitude. If I put that to 3,000 instead and then go altitude alert, so as I was saying, I've chosen the colours just because I preferred making these three indicators different colours. So I've chosen green for the altitude alert, I've chosen different colours for the other two. We'll look at those in a second. I just want to let you see it, go through the whole process. So at 2400 we've got the altitude alert light on. At 2700, that's 300 to go. That should go out. We should flip onto altitude hold. And there we go. And now we don't have the trim indicators at the moment because I've disconnected those other LEDs. But we're leveling out at 3,000 feet now. If I just look at the other two buttons, if we click go around, that's going to set go around mode, which how can I do that? If I put us in a bank using heading mode, when I press go around, it's going to roll the wings level and set us 8 degrees nose up trim. So if I just start that with a bank, we press go around now. We did that rather more abruptly than I expected it to do. But it's doing the right thing. So that's go around mode. You can see I've used a red LED for that, just because I wanted to. If I put us back onto altitude hold, you've got to cancel go around mode manually. And then put us onto altitude hold. That should hold us at about 4,000. If we show the MDA function, so let's see, if I dial us down to dial in 2,000 on the altitude alert, initiate a descent, we're going to press indicated airspeed hold, come off the power. So we're in a descent, now we can press MDA. So I've used an orange LED for that. A couple of things that I need to work on this. The first thing is the LEDs, they look okay. They look okay behind this tracing paper, but they don't work very well when you're off axis. I'm off axis over here, so I don't see the whole square illuminated. You can play with the position of the LEDs. The other thing is you get some bleed between them. So I'm going to put in some dividers to stop the bleed. I don't like the tracing paper in front of the digital display. Actually makes it a little bit fuzzy. I mean, it's acceptable, but it's fuzzier than it should be. So I think I'll go in and take that little square of tracing paper out there. So that's a fantastic little box of tricks, and I'm looking forward to getting the autopilot done as well. Again, I could do that just on a flat piece of acrylic. I might find another container or something lying around that I can build those on. You know, I think what I'll do is for the autopilot we'll just have the buttons, and where I've got the captions here I'm going to do them pretty much like this. So the captions are going to illuminate when you press the button rather than just have an LED. Just a simple LED will be easiest to do, but well, we'll see. Another thing I might do, which I haven't done for the altitude alert yet, but I have checked it out, I might put an LED, a white LED or a couple of LEDs to give some ambient light behind the panel, so then we get basically backlighting. So that should be fairly straightforward to do. Way back when I was going to make all of my panels backlit. I suppose I could retrofit the backlighting now. I could get a separate 5 volt or 3 volt power supply and run all the LEDs off of that. I might do as an experiment one panel, maybe the GPS panel, just to see how that works out. So that's it for now. Next stop, autopilot, and then connect up the switches as well. Actually, that may not be the next step. I've been just again playing with some of these little cable end covers, and I think what I might do is take this, probably this very small one, and make my ice warning gauge out of that. So you can't see it because it's not illuminated, but the ice warning gauge is just a little rectangle on the panel here. You know, if I had that with 3 LEDs in there and stick it maybe there or something like that, again, just a nice little detail. So we'll have a go at that, and don't forget the autopilot remote indicators as well. I need to do those, so watch out for all that coming soon.